For us, tourism, Greece, is a very, very important issue because it is one of the two main things that we possess: a good climate, a beautiful country, and also a very rich cultural heritage. So the combination of the two is very, very important for us. It's speaking in terms of cultural diplomacy. I mean, it is not exactly what should be said, because speaking about sectoral diplomacy, it means that you try to achieve something or to project something beyond what it really is. But for a country, especially in a globalized world, what is important is to be able to project its cultural achievements and its cultural identity. This can be achieved through many, many means. One of them, the most successful one, is tourism. Why most successful? Because people come on the actual place and they see people, they see the land, they see everybody. They have the opportunity to talk to people, and they have the possibility of really getting to know the history and the experiences of the land. And for us, Greece is something very, very important. If one looks into any magazine, into any newspaper, he will be impressed by the many advertisements on tourism. Indeed, it is a very fast-growing and fast-expanding global industry. But it's also a vibrant industry that generates wealth and brings closer, this is the most important thing, people from different religions and cultures. It encourages mutual understanding between different people, races, ethnicities. It promotes, this is something every country does, attempts to, it promotes the country's international image through culture and creates ties that prevent conflicts. Tourism becomes increasingly the modern global peace industry. We wish that this trend indicates the significant diminishing of wars and conflicts across the globe. It circulates the culture of cultures around the world, across the world. This culture represents the common values of tolerance, love, rationality, and understanding. It represents all these values that promote human behavior, which is a very high standard of civilization. I'm convinced, as everybody else I'm sure, that the wave of tourism that is expanding across the globe is a sign of hope. Because of tourism, different people cease to be aliens with each other. What in many, many centuries ago the trade did, namely bringing people the one closer to the other, now it's done in a much greater scale through tourism. For the Greek economy, tourism is a major source of revenue, and it is a very, very important element for the stabilization of its economy. This is something that we experience very strongly nowadays when Greece, everybody know, faces particularly strong economic problems, and because of the international crisis that came to Greece from outside of it, but it has affected very strongly because of very many structural weaknesses that we have in our economy, but we are very confident that we will overcome them. So tourism is Greece's main industry. We attract more than 16 million tourists each year, and this is a huge number if you consider that Greece's population is 11 million. So 16 million compared with a population of 11 million, something very important. And thus it contributes to 18%, closely to 80% to Greece's gross GDP. Following 2004 Olympic Games, this acquired further boom. Culture, as I said, is a very important issue. The relationship between tourism and culture can take many forms, and the outcome can generally be viewed as positive, not only in Greece, but throughout the world. Cases of relative destruction of local culture as a result of tourism have been also documented. This is something that is unavoidable. But however, studies by researchers consider this as a lopsided view of the impact of tourism. Studies have shown that tourism have led to the strengthening of local culture. This is something that is both promoted by the local authorities, by the local NGOs, but also from international organizations. World Tourism Organization defines cultural tourism as the movements of persons for essentially cultural motivations, such as study tours, performing arts, and cultural tours, travel to festival and other related events. But essentially, cultural tourism is based on the mosaic of places, traditions, art forms, celebrations, and experiences that portray one's nation and its people. Cultural tourists appear to be motivated for different reasons than do traditional tourists. Cultural traditions such as family patterns, religious practices, folklore traditions, social customs attract individuals interested in heritage. This is something that all of us do, and it's it enriches our experiences. For us in Greece, tourism and culture are two parallel terms, as is reflected by the fact that we have created, we're one of the very few countries that have that, a Ministry of Culture and Tourism. So we combine the two elements. Tourism for us is a means and a tool also, apart from generating income, as I said, in order to project our cultural heritage and to project and spread throughout the world through the tourists of our cultural values. This should not be underestimated. It is maybe the most valuable tool for projecting throughout the world your cultural identity and cultural traditions. Those two elements, they are two productive factors that enhance the competitive edge of our country also in the tourism sector. The answer to the massive model is alternative tourism. Alternative forms of tourism are those that mostly use lighter infrastructure adjusted to the environment, capable of channeling the various tourist activities inland, at the same time supporting local development efforts and keeping local populations in their homelands. You can understand how important cultural tourism is and how important for bringing people together. That's why sometimes people who are very closely involved into tourism believe that, and I think they are right, that the new form of tourism that is expanding more and more, the all-inclusive tourism, is not the best thing to spread the culture, because, well, it is inevitable. People who have very short time for tourism, they just go to a place that they want just to go and relax. They go to the all-inclusive establishments. But if one has the time and the means, because sometimes it's more expensive, then it is much more worthy going and really getting to know the country. Let us take, for example, China or India. I mean, can you imagine going as a tourist and going to a small place that is an all-inclusive hotel, and then you go there, you lock yourself in a luxury establishment, and then you go back? What have you got from the local culture? Very little. I say very little because they also try those organizations, they try to project some of the local tradition. But if one has the opportunity, then this is something better, and this is what people try to encourage. The alternative forms of tourism show the way towards a more conscientious form of tourist development, a basic principle at our Ministry of Culture and Tourism. Of course, this is not the only way. What constitutes a one-way street in our choices is sustainable and green development, also sustainable and green tourism. As I said, For us, tourism is not simply an industry in the sense of income sources. Together with culture, they are the basic vehicle that projects the history, the environmental sensitivities, a perfect showcase for the spatial material the country has been carrying through centuries. I don't want to advertise my country, but for every diplomat is a natural attraction. Greece offers great opportunities for cultural tourism, a large journey into history and art. Educational excursions, theatrical productions, festivals, pilgrimages, visits to archaeological sites, monuments, museums, excursions to study the natural environment, folk art, culture. Those are just a few of the many things that Greece has to offer. Whoever really wants to get to know and understand Greece, he will find an unrivaled cultural experience through traveling into the area and chronological period of Greek culture. Traces of centuries-old and important history is etched at every corner of Greece, and you can see findings of all periods. This is why we're very willing and very happy to sign the UNESCO Treaty for the protection of the monuments and sites of the world's cultural heritage. This is something that everybody should do, and we should try to expand the content of this ideal of this project. This is not only aimed at protecting monuments from erosion and destruction, but also to preserve the ideal and the culture they present through for future generations. So as you see that cultural and tourism, they are very closely linked together. It depends it is up to each country to choose what elements it wants to project. It can be a very important political tool, a very important economic tool, a very important cultural tool. So this is something that is at everybody's hand, and it passes the very strong messages for those who want to do it. So at the same time, one realizes that sometimes this is a very expensive endeavor, especially because some people try to look only to short-term gains, but culture should not be put aside for many, many reasons, also for future generations. For us, who are especially at a especially difficult time now, this is very important, and that's why we continue to doing our best in this field. We are conscious that by promoting tourism, especially at this time, we not only project our cultural identity, but also we make other people to better understand the problems, the efforts, and the sacrifices every country, every people that do. Culture and tourism are, as I said, interrelated notions. Tourism highlights prevalent aspects of culture, and culture promotes tourism. And all that for the benefit of the country and its diplomacy who do it. So those were the few words I wanted to say as an introduction, and I will be more than happy if you want me to elaborate on any particular point. Thank you.